How frustrating is it? One step forward, two step back.
Yeah, it's not easy. Frustrated, I guess. I'm more disappointed for the boys. Obviously, it's disappointing for us as staff and supporters of the group, but there's quite a good group there, and but we were just out muscled, and I mentioned I think we were out passioned today. I don't know if the short turnaround had a bit of an effect, but we weren't there where we needed to be emotionally, and the Rebels taught us a lesson, and it's great credit to them.
What about the spectacle itself? Lots of drop balls, penalties, 17 penalties. Is that hard to sit through?
Was it 27 penalties in total? Something 28.
17-8.
Yeah, 17-8. There's what did you say? Yeah. It's tough this time of year when you get a cold evening and the dew is on the ground. I know it's an excuse, but it just makes it difficult. They held the ball a lot better than we did, so they didn't find it too difficult to hang on to, really.
Is Arvo for you the solution? It seems like we talk about this quite regularly. We're into playing games at night. It's tough to hold the ball times.
Yeah, it can be tough. Yeah. There's lots of solutions, but there's obviously much bigger pressures at play to get the games on when they are, and we've just got to adapt and be better. To be fair, we didn't have a lot of the ball tonight either, so yeah.
Rob, you've spoken a lot during the season about getting discipline right. Gave up 7-8 penalties tonight, 2 yellow cards. What can you put that down to? Is the message not getting through, or what is it?
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a bit of that. We were improving. I think against the Western Force, we got no penalties away for offsides or not rolling away, so that was a big tick. That had been a massive hindrance for us all year. But last week we gave a few more away, and then tonight obviously was back to where we'd been previously. And it might be on the back of as I said, we're just a bit off emotionally, a bit off in terms of the passion that we needed to bring, and that when you're a bit off and another team's excited and ready to go, and the Rebels obviously were, those little things become big things. And instead of being a half metre onside and getting a line, so making it clear to the referee that you're not offside, that ruck falls forward and you don't move because you're just not as switched on as you should be, and next thing you know, they get a wee rumble on and you get caught, and that's what just happens when you're not getting any momentum and you're handing momentum back. So we're talking, we are attempting to work on that discipline side of it. Simo may have a view.
Yeah, I do have a view. It's a bit of both. We get a good contact, and last week that's where that contact ended, and we're trying to go. So the intent is there to go after guys. And tonight, what we're talking about, we lost that physical battle. There was the post-contact meters. I don't know what they are, but that's what hurt us. So wherever that contact was, it was probably another metre behind that line where the offside line ended up. And so we're just getting caught out, not being cool in the head, resetting, buying our medicine there. So we've just, we've got to improve. I don't think it's the message not getting. Like we said, we've addressed it. It's something we are training very, very hard, and there's improvements there, but it's a whole game thing. It's not, we just can't be lazy around that. We've got to reset, know where the ball is and know where that line is.
You were really disappointed last week, Rob. How does tonight compare to that? Very different games, clearly, but how's that to you?
Just as disappointed, but different feelings. That's a disappointment. Tonight's a disappointment around. we didn't show up in a fight there. We lost a fight before the game even started, where I think last week we were in that fight and we let them, let a handful of numbers slip, and that's where the game's lost.
Rob, what do you mean you lost the fight before the game had even started?
Well, what Rob was referring to before, we didn't show up in that physical battle. There's all different stats you can look at, but post-contact meters was one that stood out to me tonight.
Rob Penney, what about Hooper getting pinned 4 or 5 times tonight? Clearly seems a bit disillusioned with the breakdown as well. That's very unlucky to get pinned so often. Obviously get yellow too. How do you think he's dealing with that, with the refs at the moment?
He's only had one last couple of weeks anyway. He's playing really well. He's been every week he's been our best player, consistently.
His yellow card's a result of a number of 10 penalties. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, but it wasn't 4 penalties from him. It was the 4th one.
No, sure, but he was offside a couple of times, so that up to that as well.
Yep.
I guess it's a culmination of Hoops trying to show the images to the referees that they need to see, and he's working really diligently, and he's an intelligent rugby player, obviously one of the best in the world. He knows what he needs to do, and there might be, as there always is, some good post-match discussion about is this good enough for Hoops to be rewarded around that breakdown work, or does he need to continue to grow in that area and develop? But it'd be fair to say that we're in consistent dialogue about the ability for Hoops to be rewarded more. There's certainly no issues with his discipline or anything like that. Like tonight, a couple of offsides, as Simo said, we lose the collision, he gets caught. That happens. It's going to happen. Okay, sorry.
Rob Simmons, was there that termination from the Rebels forwards? Was there an issue of underestimating them, because they're the bunch of no-names of people with barely any experience in Super Rugby, where you had quite a number of very experienced players with the Waratahs. Was there a little bit of, we'll get them, or because last week you were dominating the line-outs, you were in there with the scrums, and tonight?
What's your question, mate?
Well, what is difficult to understand is that, you're up 1 week and really down the week after. There's no middle ground there. There was tonight they really dominated up front and put your backs under pressure. You didn't have the balls. The try that was scored was a lucky one, and but the attack was non-existent because you always had the ball under pressure, moving backwards.
Can you come to our meeting and do the review? You've just summed it up beautifully.
Just something.
No, you're dead right, 100%. Yeah. And I think the question, Simo, is why is that from one week to the next? Crikey.
Mate, I'd love to know.
That's the,
You find that out, you can have Rob's job.
yeah, 100%. Just want.
Mate, that's a very good question. As I suppose
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. That's what my disappointment is. We show up like last week, and then we show up like that this week. That's what I'm getting at with. We lost that battle. It's the preparation you do before the game is very important, and how you approach each game and deliver it is where games are won and lost.
Rob Simmons, did you pick up the injury, just the overall injury toll from that?
Yeah, I picked up an injury early on in the first half.
What is?
Broken ribs, I think.
So does the bye come at a good time? The Rob maybe does for another week
help me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know. I don't. Maybe we're clutching. You never know. Like I said, the football week to week so up and down, and you know everyone's trying to get a feeling of how do we improve that consistency. You know, we've gone Brumbies where things were going well and we still lose that. That really hurt us, and then we dish that up tonight. It's well, fingers crossed that you know a break will let us reset, hit the ground running again. But we need to deal with that and move forward.
Well, we guys.
So, just want to clarify, have you been told that it's broken, or you think it's broken, or like, do you expect to miss games, like, or,
I don't know timeframes. Yeah, we know it's broken.
okay, sure.
Well, good. Thanks, guys.